Michael, as I listen to all of this, I'm sort of reminded that a lot of times in education there are all these kind of initiatives, and there have been initiatives on everything from the new math to self-esteem movements to when the first wave of technology in the classroom. We could go on and on and on, and I think anybody who's been in the classroom for a number of years could list more than that. How do you think this differentiates itself from some of those movements? Because you do see this. Someone like Larry Cuban, not Larry, Larry Cuban, who talks about this is just
tinkering toward utopia, right?
Right. That's right. And then Clifford Stoll, Silicon Snake Oil, all that stuff. How is this?
It's a great question. And I would say, as a side note, I think one of the big risks to the work we're doing right now is that disruptive innovation, people use it in the way it's not intended to, or what it actually means, and so it loses its causal meaning and becomes a fad. I think it's a huge concern to the question you asked some time ago. The reason this is different is we're not, at the end of the day, advocating that we have found the solution, that we have found the program that will change, all changes. Disruptive innovation is about a process of how transformation comes about. And we've identified one thing that looks like it is disrupting, and it looks like it has the components of disrupting. We then snapped on the part about, let's use this as an excuse to transform, to create a better education system. But we may have it wrong, and there are a lot of other things out there that you can easily imagine the world evolving to. You've heard me name a lot of different ways that the teaching might evolve, different teaching models. How do you know which one is the right one? I think if we're being honest, while we can say that there's certain trends that are going to sweep through education, and I think the online learning is a big part of that, what it will actually look like and what the components will be and who are the winners and the losers and what the world looks like in 20 years from now, I think we've got to be honest and say we don't know. We can't, the only thing we can confidently predict is that whatever we predict, we'll be wrong about. And so I think it's one of the really important things that rather than having a deliberate strategy and coming out of the gates and saying, we know how the world works, we're going to set this up, make a huge investment in it, forget what we were doing, this is the way, and we have done it, that's a fool's errand. It is the right way to have a strategy when you know how the world works and you're confident about your assumptions and so forth. But in a disruptive world, in a world where who knows what it will look like, it's the wrong way to go about it. And instead, you have to be humble about the fact that you don't know what it will look like. And what we recommend is moving to an emergent strategy making process. What we mean by that is really going into a discovery-driven planning mode, where you say, rather than focus on the projections, just for your different plans, just say, for this to look attractive, the projections have to look like this. Okay. What are the assumptions underlying those projections that we have to make for that world to come true? And then let's aggressively and cheaply and quickly test those assumptions so we can start to tick and tack back and forth and learn a lot about how the world actually works in this new world, to the point that we can reach true north through this discovery process, through this process of learning, without breaking the bank, without being arrogant that we know what's actually going to happen. And so moving to an emergent strategy where we test to learn these assumptions, and as we verify them or prove ourselves false, we go closer and closer to the ultimate plan. A deliberate strategy over time comes into focus. But it's not until we've really nailed it, we've verified our assumptions, and we see a model that's just clicking on all cylinders, that we then go into overdrive and then say, this is what we're going to do.